Hello and welcome to Audionautic Deep Space Network episode 25. I am stoked to be back. It's been a couple weeks, but we're both here. We missed Eon Lake, but he is apparently on his wedding anniversary vacation, so enjoy that, Eon Lake. Today we are celebrating 2 years of Audionautic, and we'll have some cool stuff we'll be talking about, future plans, what we've been up to, but we'll also be discussing where we've been, and also a new cheaper Shopify tier for those that want merch on Spotify, Sweetwater's eBay and Reverb competitor, Twitch exclusivity ending for streaming, and the next Bandcamp Friday, because we all love Bandcamp Friday, I think. My name is Sunwarper. I'm stoked to be back, and with me, as always, is my Audionautic co-pilot, Curtis. Have I lost my edge? It's been a couple weeks. I feel like I'm a little rusty.
I think you got everything, bro. I think you got everything. Welcome back.
Just to be fair to Eon Lake, before he says like I'm crazy with energy from caffeine, I've cut my coffee to only 1 cup in the morning every day.
Really? And how do you feel for such a thing?
Well, so before, when I was on the wedding stuff, I was barely drinking either no coffee every day, which I get bad headaches with the withdrawals, or I would just have 1 cup of tea. So I was like, Eon Lake always rides me about having too much caffeine. Let me show him and try and just have 1 cup a day. And it's fine.
It's working for you. Yeah, I did a similar thing. Yeah, just cut down to 1 cup a day and mostly stick to it. And I feel better for it. Though I still don't sleep. But anyway, the chat is alive today.
Alive.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. This is a great one. This is, 2-year anniversary. It's quite a special one, really, isn't it, at the end of the day?
How's everybody doing in the chat? Let us know what you're up to, whether you're working on some new music, taking a break, whatever have you, what you've been up to. It's been a while since I've been on. I stopped in on the chat a few times, but we're good to be here. I'm happy to be back, and it's good to see you. It's been quite a while since we've talked. We've kind of given each other a little time. How have you been? What have you been up to?
I've been to Sweden. I literally got back yesterday. Spent the last week. I went up to Lapland and I did a bit of the Kungsleden Trail right at the top.
Nice.
That was intense, but it was fun. A hell of a lot of fun. It's a beautiful part of the world. And I needed it. Like I live in Prague. I live in the city.
Oh, I didn't know
very
that.
hustle bustle. No, I don't.
I had no idea.
No idea. And it's all very hustle bustle, things going on left, right, and center, and then just go into the wilderness, and suddenly there's no one for miles. There's no one for miles. You see people. Obviously, it's a trail. You see people as you go.
Yeah.
But it's just beautiful.
It's nice to get away from all of that, right?
Yeah, completely and utterly. And it was definitely something that was very necessary. So we'll be chatting about that in the round robin, what we've been up to and that kind of thing. I will say though, one thing you did forget to mention in your intro, not that you're losing your edge or anything, that
oh dude, this hurts. Just tell me.
we said in the episode before you left that we would let people know about what's going on in the next year. Audionautic.
I said that actually. I said future plans.
Did I fall asleep?
I did. Well, I think I said that. Maybe the 1 cup of caffeine is making me hallucinate. I swear I said it. Chat, maybe you can back me up. Let me know. I think I said what we're planning, and we'll be talking about previous things because Audionautic has gone through a few different transformations. I really like where we're at now, but we've got some interesting stuff ahead. The next evolution, shall we say?
We are consistently growing, and we are consistently kind of changing what we do. ADSN is a very new concept. Obviously, we're 25 episodes in. It's still quite a new concept. But I feel like this one's going to stick around for a while, at the very least. It's a lovely one to see. And it's been a good 2 years so far. If you think about how we started this, sitting around watching, we did those previous interviews, those pre-recorded interviews, didn't we?
Yeah.
And how, everything's set up. Me in Vietnam, you sitting there, and
me in Los Angeles.
You in Los Angeles, and just having.
And we didn't even do video at first. Remember, we had planned it, but we were like, we need to phase into this because it's hard to do stuff on camera, and you gotta get. And then we have all the latencies and things like that, so it's good to deal with that slowly, incrementally, let's say.
Exactly. And now look at us. Once a week, we tune in, just kind of go live. And okay, we do a little bit of planning. And
That's
kind of
true.
make it work.
Yeah.
And a little bit of planning. And then every week, we just kind of rock up 15 minutes beforehand, just go, right, let's just go.
What the hell are we doing today? Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So it's always fun. But I mean, if you think about it, okay, so Lightspeed, God rest its soul, at the beginning. Then we had Cosmic Sonics for a while. Audionautic Radio, which we'll talk about in a bit later.
I mean, Audionautic Radio is still kind of around with Binary Stars. It's Audionautic Radio Binary Stars. And we just posted a new episode. I think it was while I was gone last week or 2 weeks ago. Check it out. There's some really good tunes from the Black Dog Played, Slow 5, and I think your last one was Vengeant, right?
Vengeant, yeah.
Right?
The absolute
Vengeant?
dog that is Vengeant, yeah.
Yeah, so I would highly recommend checking it out. I got it up on Anchor, so it's on Spotify, it's on Apple Podcasts, it's also right here on YouTube. It would mean a lot if you check it out. We love doing those. They're a lot of fun. We just talk about things we're vibing with of late and what's on our podcasts and all that.
Yeah, it's always fun. I mean, Binary Stars itself and this ADSN episode itself is actually brought to us by our patrons. Every week it's brought to us by our patrons, and we love you for it, so thank you very much indeed. If you fancied supporting us and giving this little lift off, then consider going to patreon.com/audionautic and make a pledge. Pledges start at $2.
Yeah. You get early access. You get to hop in a exclusive Twitter group. We also have a Discord group just for the patrons. And there's also a lot of other stuff. If you head to the Patreon, you'll see all the different tiers and what we've got going on. I miss talking with all the patrons. I wasn't able to hop on Twitter much. I had pre-established stuff that posted while I was gone on like Insta and things like that, but I couldn't really... I had kind of spotty Wi-Fi and stuff, and I was like, I need a break anyways, and all that. So
I've just noticed, like I logged on. Obviously, I got back yesterday, and I've just logged on to the Patreon group chat to do all this stuff. Shady tagging me in a photo with a DJ setup. Where it's in the water. I just completely missed that. Like I said, I've been in the wilderness. I didn't even realise. But yeah, it's great fun. The Patreon group chat, and it's great fun. There's always something going on. 59 Perlin doing all this stuff. It's good fun. So yeah, if you wanted to support this little channel of ours, and you fancied it, go across. It would mean a lot. It allows us to do more. You have no idea how much difference it makes to what we can do and the flexibility and what we can achieve. So thank you very much indeed for those who do. And if you wanted to, we'd love you for it.
Yeah, it means a lot to have your support. And just hanging out here is more than enough. But if you like to help what we're doing, we'd love to have you over there.
That's cool. So on a side note, Eon Lake is drinking cider in Cornwall right now, which is the reason he's not here with us right now. But I mean, that is something that I would love to do at some point.
Nothing's stopping you from opening a bottle of cider right now.
I mean, apart from the fact that I don't have any. I don't have any cider. I have tea. I mean,
that's good
what are you
enough.
drinking today?
That's close enough. I've got water.
Really? Are you going full? You're going for Speaking of hydro, have you listened to Hydro?
Oh man, I did not miss some of those segues. I gotta tell you.
But genuinely, I was listening to Hydro.
I should say that my water bottle is Hydro Flask, HF.
Oh. Okay, which is close enough, I suppose.
Yeah,
it's close enough. If you've got that on a motorbike, then you're pretty much there, I'd say.
I was gonna say, I think Hydro Fighter might have missed a beat not naming it Hydro Flask, but maybe there's some copyright issues. So I think Fighter's better anyways.
Well, Hydro Fighter is always ahead of the game. But I there's something special about it. I think it was coming down from the night train, really late. Obviously, I'm wired because I decided to have a coffee at 7 o'clock in the evening because that's what you do on a night train. And I'll just go through his latest release, and it is spellbinding. If you guys haven't listened to it yet, go across to Shady Ridge Records Bandcamp page and have a listen. It is something. It is really phenomenal. It's one of my favorite releases this year, I think.
Yeah, it's really good, and I was so surprised when it was like part 1, and I was like, oh, is part 1 gonna be like, or part 2 gonna be in a couple months like you did with those EPs and stuff, and then it's like the next day, part 2. The next day, part 3. I was like, I didn't know Hydro Fighter would be okay releasing this much music this shortly in like a span of time, because he always talks about, less over long periods of time and stuff. So maybe the tide is changing for Hydro Fighter, and he's going to do new albums every month or something.
I think it's just I mean, I was surprised. Like he split siblings 1 and 2. I can't remember why, but I remember him saying why he split siblings 1 and 2.
Well, he's here. He can let us know in the chat.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know. But yeah, these ones all. I mean, they all follow the similar concept.
Yeah, it's such a cool concept.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And he talked about that in one of our light speeds with him. I remember I was talking with Shady about it, and I remember he was saying he really wanted to do something using the circle of fifths and going around, going through it, and then that album popped up on my Bandcamp, and I was like, oh, he did it! That mad genius.
Yeah, exactly, and he did it, and it's a fantastic collection. So yeah, definitely go check that out. It's really cool. Shady, it's just growing. It's beautiful. That's what you want to see. But yes. Okay, it's 29 minutes past the hour. Do you want to start?
We started late, though. To be fair.
Did we start late?
Yeah, a couple minutes.
I wasn't paying attention.
You never pay attention, but I'm on top of it, and I can see the timer that's going.
Well, let's go through it. Should we move across the news? Tell us what's been going on.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's go with that, and then we can discuss other things. So first things first, a Shopify starter plan. I'm going to share my screen so people can see. Sunwarper, what is going on in this particular one?
Of course, I've been away for a couple weeks, so I don't know what some of the topics were and all that. But we had talked previously about Shopify and how merch was coming onto Spotify. The name Shopify and Spotify just confuses me, but I'll get there. Don't worry.
The dyslexic's nightmare.
But I'll get there. But anyway, so Shopify, we were talking about it, and I think it's like $15 for the basic tier, or what was the basic tier. And yeah, you get your music. You can get merch on there on Spotify. But now they've introduced this $5, I don't remember if they call it a basic tier or starter tier, something like that, where you, for just $5 a month, you can still get a lot of those perks from the $15 one. You can get your music your merch onto Spotify. So I think this is kind of huge. Is it worth $60 a year for an independent artist? I don't know. And I had mentioned to you before, I feel like the user base for Spotify is there to stream, not necessarily to buy merchandise. That's more of, I feel like, a Bandcamp thing. But the options there might be worth trying. Like the month you have a release coming out, put $5 in, see whether you get it back. I mean, what, a couple of CD sales or something is going to equal that $5. So might be worth it.
I wonder if it's a case of what's the phrase I'm looking for? Like, okay, so say you go onto your Spotify account, right? Or you hit up someone's Spotify, and you see you got your latest releases there. You've got, say, you might have a few gig venue dates in there, that kind of thing, and then suddenly if you've got a stream of, say, merchandise, be it CDs or T-shirts or whatever, does it not give a little bit of gravitas to the account? Suddenly you're in an ecosystem here in your plan, and even if you weren't necessarily going to buy straight away, the idea of it being there, people say. I think we had this conversation on a light speed long ago when I started doing merchandise when I started selling T-shirts. The idea of, even if people are not going to buy it, it's there, and it adds a sense of seriousness to your kind of
the portfolio. Only thing I don't like is like sunken cost. If you're shelling out $60 a year and not getting anything, is it worth it just for that gravitas? I don't know.
Well, yeah, that is something that we'd have to kind of have a look at. I mean, we pay how much we pay DistroKid a year?
Well, 20 for the basic, I think 35 to have 2 artists, and I want to say 50 or 70 something for the label. I could be completely wrong about the label, but I know it's $35.99 unless they've raised it for 2 artists, because that's what I have.
So, I mean, we pay that kind of thing, and we consider that an investment in what we do. I mean, especially if you're looking to sell CDs and sell cassettes and stuff like that. Relatively speaking, okay, so the best place to sell right now is still Bandcamp and stuff like that, but relatively speaking, non-musicians, I mean, people do use Bandcamp, obviously, but Spotify, if it's...
Yeah. Much more eyes are going to be on your page. And I was thinking, oh, if people who listen to you on a playlist, yeah, usually it's like a dead listen, they're not listening to you. But if someone really likes it and checks your page out and they see merch, they see shirts, CDs, maybe you have shows playing, I mean, yeah, it definitely makes you look a little different in their eyes, at least in my opinion. And also, if they're one to buy a CD or buy a t-shirt or something. Yeah. And Eon Lake in the chat says, I think merch is a statement of intent to some degree too. Yeah, no, that's true. And that's kind of what I mean. It like makes you look a little, you stand out a little more, right? Like you mean, I guess you mean business or something, you know, like
quite
literally, you're here with shirts and all that stuff. And I get that. And I mean, it's $5 a month. I'm kind of contemplating doing it. I've got an album out in October, so I'm thinking maybe do it in October or September when I do the pre-order and see how it fares.
I can get on board with that. I mean, he just said...
Well, you better get on board with it, because it's happening.
I mean, I do all the design stuff. That makes it work. And I say,
exactly.
I get on board.
I would hope you're on board with it.
It's not going to design itself, is it? You know? But we'll see. But I tell you what, that is pretty good. It's a pretty good time. Before we move to the next segment of the news, if we are discussing merchandise, should we let them know what's going on in our world?
I think so.
Yeah. So, to celebrate the fact that we've got 2 years under our belt now, it's been 2 years since Sunwarper and I started the biggest collaboration known to musicians. Let's face it.
We're quite humble. Don't worry.
We have decided, or we've had this in the can for a while, but we thought we'd wait until our 2-year anniversary to plug it and to kind of announce it to people. But we will be starting on Bandcamp Friday.
Which we'll be talking about, but it's September 2nd. The next, It's been off for a few months, but the next Bandcamp Friday is September 2nd. Exactly. But look at that, in all its glory, Audionautic t-shirt.
Audionautic. It is official.
Or as Eon Lake said, a t-short.
A t-short, exactly. You can get on the...
Finish that sentence. I want to hear what that is. Finish it.
Which is so we got these lovingly designed by a friend of mine, Jack, who's based in Melbourne. Great graphic designer who did all of our stuff and all of our motifs. We had a rebrand at the beginning of the year. You can get it for now. We're only selling eco tees because we don't want to kill the planet. So these are all eco tees. So it'll be in black, and I think you can get them in white now as well, though I don't have a mock-up for a white to hand. Lovely Audionautic on the front, and then on the back you can have our motto. Make it sound good, dude, on the back, which is always a bit nice.
And Eon, like, really quick said, damn auto-corrected cider for his t-shirts. I don't know. I think that's something we could invent, t-shirts. We got t-shirts. What about a t-shirt? I don't know. Maybe it's already been made. I'm just saying. Don't worry, Eon. Like, we'll give you proper... like a finder's fee when we make it.
Exactly, yeah. We'll give you a 10%. They'll be coming out on Bandcamp Friday, which is September the 2nd, or 2nd of September for people on this side of the Atlantic. They will be there. We'll put everything up on our Bandcamp page, or possibly even that point, a Shopify page, who even knows at this stage.
And the Bandcamp should be in the description. It's been a minute since I was on the Streamlabs, which is how we stream. And I know Eon Lake had to change some stuff when he was doing it, so the description should have all that info, all of our links. If it doesn't, I will add it at the end when we finish live streaming. But it's our Audionautic Bandcamp.
Yeah, we'll get it through there. So it's just a little bit, and this is one of the new things that we're kind of bringing in, just a few t-shirts, that kind of thing, a bit of merch. At one point we looked at a mug, but I think we might wait a little bit for that.
I still want an audio, because we could just sip, even though I don't drink a coffee at this time at 11, we could have water.
Yeah, we could.
Or sparkling water or cider for some of you out there, like Eon Lake. And at some point, I think Curtis is going to pop in with the cider once he's going to go buy some, I think. So next... no, you're not here next week, right?
Yeah. I'm back now.
I thought you had 1 week where it was going to just be Eon Lake and I, but...
No. Sadly, sorry to burst your bubble, my friend, but no.
Damn, I was looking forward to that. I'm going away again tomorrow, but I'm back on Sunday, just in time for a new Starstream recording, which is on Tuesday. So Starstream is our Patreon exclusive show where we're doing the Toybox collab, where me, Eon Lake, and Sunwarper, we're doing a collaboration between three of us, and it's happening over a couple of months, and And
Yeah,
I
you can
wanted
see
to
that.
mention, I found a YouTube site, or a YouTube video, not site, YouTube video that was talking about, it was like, I made a song using AI apps or programs. I want to watch it because I want to see what those were, because we had talked about having a fourth collaborator, AI.
AI.
What happens if we just throw these completely different key and BPM stems into an AI generator or something, and see whether it can make a track from it, as in the way that we've made tracks, taking different BPMs, fixing it, changing keys and all that stuff. So we may have a fourth collaborator. More on that in Starstream. So head over to Patreon if you want to watch that.
Get that done, yeah, completely. We'd like to know, we like I say, in terms of coming back to the merchandise very briefly, we have this. If there was anything you particularly want, if you want something with Audionautic on it, let us know. What would you have? Because we've gone with t-shirts and quite possibly a mug at some point. But the world is our oyster these days. There are so many different things that we can do. I mean, whether that be a throw, or I don't know, or a pencil, or a hydro flask, you let us know. You let us know. You let us know. Let us know, and we'll endeavour to make it work. But yeah, just another way to support us. So
Yeah.
It's always fun. So,
What
yeah,
else do we have on the docket for today?
Let's talk about Sweetwater. Should we talk about
Yeah.
Sweetwater?
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's do
so this is something that I woke up to that you had put in the chat, or not the chat. You had put in the document
it. Yeah.
while I was asleep.
Yeah, it's their new eBay/Reverb competitor called, I think it's called Gear Exchange. But
Yeah, Gear
as you
Exchange.
can see, Syntopia has a little picture of the website. You can. Do you mind hitting that Gear Exchange link?
You mean this one?
Yeah. Well, that's the picture, but that works. So the big thing is 0 fees for the seller. But there's a little clause that we noticed, and it's 0 fees if you get gift cards or gift points, whatever you want to call it, for Sweetwater. So you only get the 0 fee if you're going to buy gear from what you sell. Which, I mean, we're musicians, of course, we'll sell gear to buy gear, but if you're looking for cash or something, there are fees. I don't know what the fee is. We can check if anybody wants us to, but I thought it's cool. I mean, I like the fact that they have an option that's 0 fees. I've never sold on eBay or Reverb, but I think there's seller fees. But if anybody has in the chat, let us know. And what did you sell? What have you tried selling on there? Was it successful? I've been thinking about selling some gear on there, so we'll see. I know Forest Robots was selling some stuff, and he said it was really good. But
You can make it work.
yeah.
I mean, it's the perfect website for Eon Lake, really, if you think about it.
No, it's as a buyer.
Well, yeah.
I was gonna say it'd be like the worst nightmare as a seller. He'd have a whole store. It'd just be every piece of gear known to mankind if you wanted to sell it. But
can you imagine the server data input?
That's what I
would
mean.
be needed
It'd just be a
for
nightmare.
Eon Lake to sell his gear. That would be insane. You'd need an entire service base.
Oh, real quick about the merch over in the chat. Hydro Fighter said he's all about the long sleeve tees, and Shady said that's to hide all of the tats. But but yeah, I mean, long sleeve tees are an option we can look into. If anybody else likes that idea, let us know in the comments or in the chat.
I think we did have a look at long sleeves at the beginning, and then again we went with the whole eco idea, but that was a while ago.
We could always, do a very limited run of certain things if there's something like even 5 coffee mugs or something.
Yeah, we could always plant a tree for every t-shirt sold.
But yeah, what do you think about this gear exchange? Eon said I ain't selling nothing. I thought so, but as a buyer, that's your heaven, because you could just
I mean, I think it's always good to have these competitors up.
Yeah.
I mean, Sweetwater, Reverb, etc. I mean, they're nice, but I mean, you can always have any lack of monopoly in any form of capitalist exchange is always fun if you think about it in that exchange. If it's going to be a race to the bottom on that front, I'm quite happy to do that. We have a couple here, like specifically in the Czech Republic, where it's for people in the Czech Republic, and I've been able to buy and sell relatively a lot easier than say in Vietnam, because there's a few out there, whereas in Vietnam there's only one, and so yeah, these are never a bad thing. If there's more place for you to get your stuff through, then that's never a bad thing. What would you sell? What have you got for sale? Yeah.
Well, I have that Arturia micro brute.
Ah, yes, your fiend, your devil, the one
I don't
you hate.
use, so I mean, I might sell that. I don't know. There might be some gear I could sell. I don't know. I have some stuff that I forget I have. So, I mean, it's just sitting there. So maybe
It
sell
is.
it. I was
I've got
using that tape recorder a lot, the 4-track, but I haven't been using it much because of the SP. So I could sell that.
I can see how it works. I've got a couple of Volcas lying around, which I've kind of outgrown.
I actually really like the Volcas for sampling into like the SP. Because it's so tiny, I can fit it in the screen when I'm filming, like in the lens. So you can really get some cool
aesthetics.
sounds. Yeah. No, it's not about the
matter
aesthetic,
what it
but
does.
no, I like the sounds from like the Volca FM. It's basically a mini DX7, so I can just sample in sounds into the SP. Like I did a video on Tuesday where I made a synth on the SP by sampling single notes, so I could actually like perform on the SP. It was
okay.
It's pretty fun. So I'm getting more into that. So I'm like, ooh, yeah, I like those little ones to do that.
Well, if you want the bass and if you want the vocal sample, just hit me up. I'll sell it to you. Mates rates,
all right.
isn't it?
I'm not buying anything for a while, unlike Eon Lake, but he may want it. I don't know.
We'll see. We'll talk to him. We'll get it through. So yeah, that's the brand new thing out of Sweetwater, which is always nice. We'd like to do again. What you guys think about it in the chat?
Yeah. Does anyone in the chat buy or sell off of Reverb or eBay or anything like that? Love to hear your experience. Like I mentioned, I'm contemplating selling, so I'm curious to hear any personal stories about it.
Yeah, we got that. Eon Lake in the chat. I have some stuff I forget I have. You're never taking the piss out of me again. So
what? I was saying stuff I don't. I forget I have.
well, maybe
he took that personally because he has some too. I don't know.
Maybe. But we'll see. I mean, we have never seen Eon Lake. I'd like to see a full studio tour of Eon Lake's gear. I'd like to see how many blinking lights there are, because we see little snapshots.
I think we'd go blind, probably.
Probably, yeah. It must be like staring at. It must be staring at like the Ark of the Covenant.
There's so much light. It's like staring at the sun. You take a glimpse or something. Just a quick peek, and you're like, oh my god.
Exactly. It just rips you. It was like molecule to molecule.
That modular rig is just like one giant blinking light.
So, okay, all right, moving along.
Oh wait, real quick. Shady Ridge says I bought off of Reverb a few pedals. Maybe thinking of selling an amp soon on there. That's what I was thinking of selling. The Marshall that I've got back there.
Well, the one that's been sitting there for a year and you've used like twice.
I've used the Mesa a lot, or Mesa Boogie, but I don't typically use the Marshall. But I always was keeping it because of its. No, it's got a really good clean tone, unlike the Boogie, but the dual recto, which is really nice distortion. But I can't record those because I can't put ear protection on when I record because I need the headphones. So I'm like, so it kind of just it's there for aesthetic and to put Master Chief nice and high.
Yeah, it's all about the Master Chief.
It's all about Master Chief.
When you're recording guitar, are you miking up the amp or are you using the emulated output or what?
I use Guitar Rig, but what I have done is done some sampling, like just single notes and stuff on that. And I'm going to put a sample pack out with some samples that I make using that. But other than that, I don't really use it. It's just there for aesthetics, to look cool. Eon Lake says he uses Reverb and eBay all the time, especially for modular. Yeah, cool. I'm doubting it, but have you ever sold on either of those, Eon Lake? And what was your experience like? Was it all good? I'm just curious. I doubt that he's sold anything.
I imagine
I don't blame him. He's got awesome gear. Why would you sell it? It's fun to play with. I'm not mocking you, Eon Lake. I want to be clear. I'm just saying I doubt that you've sold any of that great gear.
I have an image of the size of Eon Lake Studio, and then there's 2 garages downstairs with all the stuff that is like bought over the years. That's just me. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, moving along quite swiftly, we got some brand new news out of Twitch, which is quite interesting for those who do live streaming. I mean, obviously we live stream through YouTube, and it's always nice. We have both dabbled with Twitch in the past,
and I shall be dabbling subsequently.
And you shall be dabbling subsequently. Yes. I might be. Haven't decided yet, but we'll see. But basically,
Ian Lake says no. I don't sell anything. We'll let you know when I do. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so Twitch partners live stream exclusivity is over. Basically now, if you're a Twitch partner, you will also be able to simultaneously stream to Facebook and YouTube, which is pretty big, to be fair. It's quite big news. They're ending their exclusivity deal. It means that content creators can go live on other platforms and support live streaming, but also only if they're not live on Twitch. So you can build multiple platforms. This has been previously available, but you have to pay for a third-party app, which is quite pricey. But nowadays, you could just get it done. which is really interesting.
That's huge.
Yeah,
a slight democratization, I suppose we could call it. Opening up a little bit.
Yeah, completely.
Never
which
a
is
bad
great,
thing.
Because I mean, yeah, because Twitch in a way, it's okay. It's similar to Bandcamp in the sense that it's there's a lot of like crossover between creator and consumer.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously people just stream on Twitch and people just consume on Twitch, but it's huge. Twitch is huge, but it's always open up to more. YouTube is even wider on that front. There's an even wider remit. There's a wider remit on Facebook and stuff like that. These are genuine social medias, whereas Twitch has always been a bit more specialized, a bit more niche. So I mean, if you're looking to get into content creation through Twitch, and if you're looking to expand your Twitch site, which again both of us have dabbled with in the past, this is a great milestone to cross.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I just want to remind everyone, if you use DistroKid, and I'm not sure about other distributors, but you can get the affiliate for Twitch right away. You don't need however many subscribers and viewers, things like that. So as a musician, if you want to live stream or even do pre-recorded footage that you live stream through OBS or something, Twitch is a really interesting way to go, because you can monetize it right away if that's something you want to go for. I've been considering, I have a project I'm planning next year where I think it's going to be partly live streams and then also YouTube stuff and then like a release. So I think it's a really interesting way to open up, get yourself out there further, but also if you need monetization or want monetization, it's there much faster for you than, say, YouTube, which is 1,000 subscribers and I think 4,000 watch hours per month, something like that. It's
something like that. Yeah.
It's steep, to begin with. So it's something there.
It is, and Twitch is growing in the sense, like, obviously it's got its name for being gaming and for streaming games. Like Billows does a lot of streaming games when he does his thing. And he's on Twitter for his music, but it is getting a bit out there. Like the guys from Trivium, they stream quite consistently and play stuff, that kind of thing.
Man,
so,
I used to listen to Trivium in like 9th grade, high school or something.
Yeah. I think at one point every teenage metalhead had a Trivium tee at one point.
I've never had a Trivium T-shirt, but
I know I didn't know. The just the notion of just how they were the Metallica of our generation. I feel like everyone knew who they were, even if you weren't really a metalhead.
But their live streams are pretty cool. I have watched some of those recently. Yeah, I mean, I love watching the production process or recording process for any type of musician. It's always good and it's a great learning experience. So yeah,
it's good fun. So yeah, that's kind of the new words, Josh. That's the new stuff.
It gets
coming
harder.
Out of, yeah, it gets harder, exactly. That's the new stuff coming out of Twitch, which is again very nice. It's while the rush or almost the gold rush for content creation is happening, it's nice that new avenues can be explored, which is it's never a bad thing. Never a bad thing. We have one more piece of music. One more piece of news. My word, I'm not working today. We have mentioned Bandcamp Friday in comparison to our new merchandise, which is coming through. But the big news, I suppose, that we should have broken with, Bandcamp Fridays is actually coming back.
Yeah, September 2nd. And then they've got it, I think, every month through 2022. It's cool. Mm-hmm. I wonder if it's going to have a little bit of revitalization because it's been absent for a couple months. But I felt like as it went on, while it was an awesome thing for Bandcamp to do, it kind of became like a Spotify thing where everyone was oversaturating on that day, and it was like your voice just couldn't be heard. And people on Twitter would be like, "Oh, post if you've got something on Bandcamp Friday," and there'd be like a big, chain of releases and stuff. But it kind of lost that specialty because people were trying to put something out all the time. I get it. I mean, especially during that whole 2020 situation, it made a lot of sense, and it's still really cool of them to do. But I'm just curious if anyone in the chat feels like it's kind of lost its luster, lost its appeal.
We'd like to say, I in a similar fashion, like when we started the whole thing, obviously it was, we started Audionautic around about the time that COVID hit, really. And it was in 2020.
We had planned it, I think, in 2021, right? And then we released
2019.
Was it 29? Yeah, 29. Man, I
We
could.
started playing
I
in
could
2019.
dates, dude. You struggle with
No,
words.
no,
I
right.
struggle with dates, man. Years. Yeah, we planned it in 2019. I think we filmed a few in 2019, and then then we. I mean, I guess this is a nice tie-in to Audionautic's history since we're celebrating. We should get into that, but yeah, we started planning Audionautic in 2019 because we met on Instagram. Through I can't remember if you found me or I found you through like hashtag stuff, but you were posting those awesome GoPro head, like on the head videos of jams, which R.I.P. man, I miss those.
They'll come back. They'll come
Okay,
back.
good. And then I know I was posting some stuff, and then we were like, let's collab, and we did Trans-Pacific, and then I was like, let's do a podcast, and then we started this whole thing.
I mean, we've gone through several iterations, and now it's like, well, we meet, we talk daily, meet on a weekly basis, and we hash this out, don't we?
Yeah.
And it's consistently growing. Like from where we started it out. I'm also looking at it from like a visual perspective, like how we started and how kind of a bit rough and ready it was, and now, I mean, it's not like we're the pinnacle of beauty when it comes.
I don't
to
know,
our
man. The
aesthetic,
gray
right?
screen we have in the background of these live streams, I think, screams aesthetic.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's very spacey. It's very nebulous in that front.
Empty space.
Exactly. Which is something that we can work on. But I mean, the medium is what the medium is.
Yeah, I mean, we use Google. What is it? Google Meets, and to my knowledge, you can't change the background, which is a bummer.
No.
I'm looking into some other ways we could maybe meet, but the issues we had, like Zoom had horrible latency for a live stream. It worked for video because we could chop the audio apart and fix it, but when it comes to live streaming, there's like all these video issues, latency, and stuff like that. If anyone knows of other alternatives, I've seen some podcasts mention, I can't remember its name, but I'm gonna look into that, where they like film it in this thing and it does that, but I don't know if that's for live streaming. So we're always looking to improve, but for now, I mean, I'm very happy with how we've got this. I feel like our ADSNs have gotten smoother as we learned how to do these live streams, and we of course appreciate everyone in the chat. It's always fun when to have people in here and talk through things.
Yeah, it's always good. It's a nice little community, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's always a nice way to see. But yeah, I mean, it's been a good couple of years. I mean, we're consistently growing. We have no qualms about where we are, what we're doing. But
No,
I mean,
and don't forget, we also started a label where we've had our releases. It's a hub for our releases, but we've also had some other artists. We've done a couple compilations, which have been a lot of fun. We're going to be doing some more. We've got a lot planned. I'm going to release some download codes on the Audionautic Twitter over the next few days, celebrating our 2 years. So stay tuned for that if you need any albums from Audionautic Records.
Let me get that down. I mean, all right. I'll tell you what. Then you brought up the concept of the label. For the people watching, a little bit of an insight. So in January this year, we decided to focus on ADSN, on the live stream, on the radio, on the network, that kind of thing, and less so much. Last year, we focused a bit more on the label, had a couple of releases, Sound Phaser, that kind of thing. FCC, who obviously we released FCC this year, but we
planning
obviously started
prior.
We were planning with him last year, that kind of thing. And so we kind of decided to focus on the network a little bit more. Right, it's probably about a good time to tease, or tease is the wrong word perhaps, but talk about what we've got planned for next year. Do you want to kind of sidle into that a little bit before we let Hydra fight?
I think we've already moved into it. Let's do it.
So let's start with the radio. Let's start with the radio because this is the one that I've taken under my belt. I wasn't here, so you had to. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you were forced to.
No,
I've been on a honeymoon for like 3 weeks, so.
Exactly. No, it's all good. It's also all editing. I mean, it's the part that I do. You know, the point is extended orbit, which is me and you need to sit down and discuss things like color schemes and stuff and how we're going to make this work. I've got some things.
Well, let's explain before we just ramble on about those things. Extended orbit is going to be something we teased with Billows's AMAP, where an artist will get about 60 minutes to make a set, their own music they like, whatever like that. They make a set of music, and can be pre-recorded, can be live, can be whatever, and then we're going to air it as part of Audionautic Radio. It'll be its own thing, just like Binary Stars. I think we're doing once a month for extended orbit, and the plan at some point is to increase binary stars to 2 times a month. But we're still sorting out the when and where of all that. But that's kind of what we're planning.
I think we have it here. We have it from next year. So we're doing 1 binary stars till the end of the year, and then in January we start 2 binary stars. Yeah.
We spent like 2 hours making a calendar. You know, Josh's favorite thing to do, Curtis's favorite thing to do, I should say. And we laid out everything. So we've got this big long-term plan. But yeah, binary stars will go to 2 times a month in January, and then extended orbit, I think we're beginning in October. You've got the calendar. I'm doing the live stream, so I can't look on our calendar. But yeah, the extended orbit starts in October.
Yeah, so extended orbit starts on the 9th of October, and that will be, we're doing it with the moon. That's kind of how we're doing it. So it's around about the middle of the month, either the second week, or it's on the second week of the month, or the third week of the month, depending on the moon. And it'll be there. And actually, binary stars starts twice a month from October at the same time as well.
Oh, see, that's why I didn't give a time originally, because I couldn't remember. You had just talked today wanting to do it, I think, in January, but I think we'd previously mapped it out for October. So it may change, but I guess let's say tentatively, binary stars twice a month, expected in October, and then extended orbit starts in October. We've got a couple mixes in. They're awesome. We're talking with artists. If you'd like to do something, email us. We can talk some dates, whatever. But yeah, let us know.
Exactly. We'd love to hear from you. These extended orbits are, again, as the Audionautic Radio has always been, it's always about the community and expressing those and spreading out, and more ears and more eyes on the people that make the music that we love so much. So
our unofficial motto, despite Make It Sound Good Dude being our main motto, is Together We Grow. And I think that's less jokey and more serious. But it's true. I mean, that was the whole point of Audionautic. And as we're getting, sentimental and celebrating, that is why we started, to grow together, to learn. We wanted to interview artists, talk with artists. That was the start of Audionautic. And it's evolved into something a little different. But the whole point is still that every week we come together, we share news, we talk, we grow. Everyone in the chat, you help us learn things. We discuss stuff. We hope you all learn something too each week. That's kind of always been like our point and motto. Yeah, well, unofficial motto, because we got Make It Sound Good Dude. But yeah, Together We Grow. I think that summarizes Audionautic as a whole.
Exactly. So yeah, it's been a good 2 years, and here's many more. We are going to be doing a little bit more on the label next year as well, for both ourselves and for other people coming through. We've been talking to a few people here and there. And there will be a few more releases on the label. It's going to be really exciting, so stay tuned for that. And if you want the scoop, you can have a look at our Patreon, because they always get it before anyone else. So shall we? Okay, so Hydrofire is in the lobby. Shall we get him in before we move to the round robin for this week, where we can discuss about what we've been doing?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's bring Hydrofire in here and see what he's all been doing. Let's do the levels check and see what he's all about. Hydrofire, are you there, bro?
I am here. Hey, congratulations, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
What's
you very
up?
much
It's
indeed.
been a minute, Steve. How are you?
2 years, man. That's deep. And I didn't know you guys met on Instagram. I thought maybe it was Match or Tinder or something like that.
it was Tinder. We okay. Full disclosure, we were trying to hide that fact, but it was Tinder.
It was Tinder. Let's face it. Yeah, we did swipe.
But then we added each other on Instagram.
Well, it seems to work out really good. I mean, you guys have sparked a lot in the community. I think you bring a lot of wealth to all of us.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That means a lot.
It does. Yeah. Again, in the name of Together We Grow, I think we all bounce off each other, and we all bounce kind of through, and it's a great way to do it, because like we sit here and we talk bollocks on a mic, but then everyone's learning, and people in the chat doing the same stuff. It's always nice.
Yeah, totally. And I love this show for sure, because I love talking with you guys. It's nice to have some people who understand the language, right?
Speak the jargon, right?
Yeah, totally.
Exactly. How is what's going on in your world, Hydrofire? What's going on with it? I think
you guys already talked about it. Yeah.
Oh, it is something beautiful.
Well, we got to hear it from you, though. You're the one that created it.
Yeah, I think it. I think it came out pretty good. A month or two ago, I was kind of sketchy on what it was, and then after we released it, and I love what Shady did with the how he released it and the packaging of the physical and all of that stuff. I really like what he did with everything, and I gave him a lot of control over the artwork and that type of stuff like that, because he likes to put the package together, so it makes sense for him to do that. And plus, I didn't want to stress about that. I wanted to get the music part of it done and behind me. So, you guys know that we talked about that whole using fifths to do the drones and evolve into the next song, and then I bought the beat step, and I'm like, oh, I want to use some of this stuff on there. So I'm like, well, how do I do this? So I'm like, well, I'm just going to make a part 2. And then I came up with the idea of using the modes to do it. But I didn't know what to do with the other songs that I really liked still. So I built a chord out of it and used the thirds to go through the drone. So you got the thirds, the fifths, and the sevenths. It seems like a pretty good idea, but I'm not going to do something deep like that again, or at least not for a while.
How long did it take you to develop all 3 of those and make the songs and whatnot?
The first one with more of the piano and ambient stuff was really quick. It just felt good writing that way. I was on the keyboard a lot. They popped out really easy. The last one was kind of my normal process. Wasn't anything rushed or lagging behind. It was what I expected. And the middle one I fought with quite a bit because I wanted to do more of an IDM vibe to it, but the way I developed the sounds, it didn't really come out that way. And the middle one is the one that uses the modes. So
I love that. I love doing modes and stuff, so I really like that one. I mean, I love them all, but
everything's using the same 7 notes throughout the whole album, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't step outside of the key, and I think if I would do something more IDM, I want more dissonance involved with what
I wanted to give kudos, too, for, what is it, Locrian, the last one before it goes back. That is always a nightmare to write in, and I was like, that was the first one I listened to, because I always read the description of a album before I listen when I'm on Bandcamp, and I was like, ooh, modes, I love this, and I was like, let me go to that one, because that's always the toughest one, and I thought you nailed it, man.
I like that flat second. You guys, you and Sunwarper, you and I have talked about that quite a bit. It just brings a certain ugliness to it. The Phrygian and the Locrian have certain ugliness.
Phrygian is lovely. Like, I mean, you can make it dark and stuff, but like it works. But Locrian can be a struggle sometimes. At least for me, I don't know. Maybe I'm weird, but it's such an odd thing if you're doing it like from that first that making the tonic, the Locrian one.
Yeah, what I found to be more of an odd transition is actually the Ionian and the Lydian, because you're using that major seventh, and it's just kind of odd to me. And I think that's where I struggled with that one too, because I'm used to writing in certain keys or modes where I'm not used to writing in Ionian or Lydian, and it's.
Did you set the key on your beat step or whatever, or were you purposefully because I can't remember if you play notes or if you map them in.
I played. Yeah, you can play them on the beat step, and then
it's like create in key.
Yeah, and you can create your loop. It's got kind of like a piano configuration type of thing set up on there. So you can either step sequence it or you can play it, and we'll fall into the loop.
I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's awesome. I think maybe we should have a dedicated chat about, because we've been going for a while, but I think we should have a dedicated chat about this maybe next episode or a couple episodes down. But I mean, I love it. I'm not trying to move past it. I know we've got a lot to cram in, and it's already 12:07. But if anybody that hasn't heard it should check it out. It's on what is it, ShadyRidge.bandcamp.com, or is it ShadyRidgeRecords.bandcamp.com?
Yeah, just Google it. Shady Ridge.
Yeah, probably hydrofighter.bandcamp.com as well. It's really cool. It's 3 parts, and each one explores like a different aspect of going through something like the circle of fifths.
Yeah, thanks for the plug, guys.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And we love it.
I'm gonna put Hydrofighter's Bandcamp in the chat now.
That's
just
an
so
even
grab
better
the first
idea.
top there.
Yeah, then you don't have to try to Google or something. Yeah, there it is.
Genuinely, I think my favorite release of the year so far, and it's now that it's out, Hydrophile? Is it nice to see the back of it, or is it? Are you, or because I remember a couple of weeks ago you were saying you're already on to other things. Like,
Yeah,
is this?
I've been building the templates. I'm going to build a couple more templates. So
Okay.
that's kind of my summer fall thing, and I just want to write come fall time.
Well, this is fair. Well, this is a lovely little bridge into our round robin to finish off the show for today. The idea of we've all taken the odd break over the summer. Mike, Sunwarper, you've obviously had your wedding and your honeymoon. I've been to Sweden, and Hydrophile, famously, you take the summer off to do your thing. And are you coming back to yours now? Are you coming back to your kind of working time? Because we're in late summer now, getting towards September.
Yeah, I'm always kind of doing stuff throughout the summer. I'm just not as deep into it. I think it's going to be probably October before I get really deep back into it, because I just love the fall even more than the summer. So, but once we get into January, I mean, there's nothing else to do where I'm at.
Okay.
Unless you're into snowmobiling or skating or ice skating or whatever you do.
Stay
out in the
indoors,
snow,
make
right?
music.
Yeah.
I thought, yeah. I mean, I would have taken you for a figure skater, Hydrophile. Is that not
Yeah,
the
you
case?
know what? Yeah, that's what all my Tinder friends say too.
That's always what we got to see. So yeah, all right. Well, this is what I kind of wanted to bring to the table this week. The idea of we always have said on the show, and we've always said for the mental health of a musician or an artist, it's always good to take breaks away. And we're getting towards the end of the show. I just wanted to kind of, in the name of taking breaks, or in the name of finishing one chapter and coming back to the table, coming back to the synthesizer, what are some of the lessons that we have recently taken away when we come back, so to speak? So we've been away, we've learned what can we bring back to the table. I was just curious as to what meant for you guys. Is there anything going into the next phase, next chapter of what you're going to do? Is there anything you're going to be doing differently? Is there anything that you've got your mind on? That's what I wanted to know. That's what I wanted to kind of bring to the table. Sunwarper, you've just had a honeymoon, so let's start with you.
I brought home field
Now that you're-
recordings. Lots of field recordings.
Oh.
Because I was it was like
okay.
rainforesty. Because I was in Kauai. In Hawaii, we didn't really talk about the honeymoon, where I've been, but I was in Kauai, which is an island in Hawaii. It's much more rural and like natural. There's a lot more, less city, less buildings, things like that. So I was in like very overgrown rainforesty area, so I was getting field recordings of like the rain, of all the birds, all the wildlife, crickets, you name it. Even just like walking through a rainforest, just getting the ambiance of it, getting the sounds. So that was awesome. Let's see, what else? I think just kind of feeling like I'm ready to start the next project, despite I can't really start it until January due to the nature of how I'm doing it. And I'm like in this weird in between, because I've got the album finished. It's dropping. Pre-order starts in September. Album's in October. So it's like I'm just kind of like making ideas and testing things out, like on my YouTube channel, trying to make like sample libraries on the SP or sample packs to put up online and things like that. So yeah, I don't know. I think my approach is going to be very different. That's kind of what, while I was there, I was concepting this next project, and I think it's going to be largely DAW-less, which is like a first for my true releases. So I'm kind of like wanting
That's
to
cool.
do a very different shift, and like I'm thinking I can make loops or something, or perform stuff on a DAW and then like export it if I want it. But I kind of want to do something very different and like try to make like my normal template of music, like very meticulously crafted and stuff like that, but all on the SP, rather than like taking all this time having the DAW, like the luxury of a DAW, where you can tweak things, like try and do all of that but on the SP. And it makes me very nervous, because I also think I'm gonna live stream it, and I'm like, I want to go towards those nerves and like do it, so
Yeah, you got to face your fears. Yeah, that's the way you do these
exactly.
things. You
But
got to step
yeah,
out your comfort zone.
I want to like sample. I've kind of been testing prototypes on my YouTube videos, like sampling the Prophet in, making a synth through sampling like the mini log on the SP, and like building stuff with just the circuit and the SP. Like, how technical can I get with these things as I'm still learning how to use it and stuff? Like kind of trial by fire, basically.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it. Pee into the wind, my friend. Pee into the wind.
There we go. Yeah, there we go.
It's got to be done. Yeah, no, that'll be very. Shady said really looking forward to it, Sunwarper. But that sounds like
thanks,
you
man.
already
Yeah,
done.
well, if you again, it's not going to be till January, but you can follow me on Twitch, and then I'll be posting stuff on my YouTube as well with it. But I'll talk more about the project once I kind of get it finalized and after the release cycle of my album Radiant Visage. But yeah, it's going to be I'm going to do part of it's going to be live stream, part of it's going to be filmed and edited videos, and then I'm going to do, I think, a jam of each one at the end of each month. So it's kind of like future. It's like an evolution of Future Fate.
Well, there you go. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
New processes. It's always interesting. Again, a little bit sentimental, as it is our anniversary episode. So kind of watch how your process is, because obviously, I get the scoop, so to speak, and to kind of see where you're at with it. It's interesting to see how your processes change and what you do and how your ideas kind of fluctuate and go through these things. So it'll be very exciting to see.
Yeah, it gives me a lot of anxiety, but I guess that's the point. I always want to try to change things up and do things different. And I may be working on some composing stuff over the next year, so this will kind of be how I can still do my music, but taking a little less time, so to speak. But yeah, I just want that sense of community to grow the out. It was like that with Future Fade, where there was you grew with the album and as I wrote it, and I want to do something even more. The next step of that, the next evolution. So,
look at that. Let's see how that kind of turns out. So, 2023, Audionautic Records. That's going to be fun.
It'll be interesting for sure.
Yeah. How about you, Hydrophobia? Or what's going on in here?
I think I'm following a similar approach, but obviously
no,
not
it's copyrighted.
I
trademarked it. No, I'm kidding.
Well, then I'm doing a total different approach to it. I'm looking. You guys have heard me talk about the templates. I think I've pretty much completed one of them. I want to do two more based, and the other two. One is going to be strictly using the VCV rack, the modular stuff, and then I want to do another template that's using the plugins that I have that are semi-modular.
Mm-hmm.
We want to dive into stuff that I haven't done before. But using the template, the idea of it is to use my hardware, my MIDI controllers with it. I don't want to have anything pre-sequenced in Ableton. I want to make it a performance type of thing. Some things I might try to make a little bit more shorter or a little bit more aggressive. Using some things I might just use a couple of tracks. Some things I might use all of the tracks, and I'm restricting myself to 8 tracks right now. So, yeah, so with that in mind of coming out of the summer thing, with the idea of using the template, now what I've been doing a lot of is just listening to music, listening to how other people are doing things that sound like they could be done in a live environment. Mm-hmm. So got some studying yet to do, some listening, some exploring to do, but that's the goal. And I might do something similar, like Sunwarper's. I might do some video live stuff too at some point, but I gotta get my head wrapped around it first, and I gotta get deeper into it before I can make those types of decisions.
Makes sense. I mean, there's only whenever there's a beginning to something new, a new project, there's always a hell of a lot to intake, a lot of learning, and a lot of kind of experience. Is that, if that's the right word? You got to kind of absorb everything before you get through.
Mm-hmm. And what I really want to do with the templates is I don't want to sit and do sound design so much. So once I have the templates built, I can use the hardware to manipulate the sounds. But I don't want to just sit and tweak with things after I've built the song. I just want to write songs, and then I just want to put them together and see what comes out of it.
See, I'm kind of the different. I want to do both. I love, and Eon Lakes talked about this. It's taking specific days or work things and working only on sound design, and of course the happy song accidents will come, but you're going in I'm not gonna write a song, I'm just gonna do sound design, and I kind of want to do that to a degree, but also turn that into music, and turn that into a song. But I really want to do a lot more sound design, because I don't necessarily work with templates, but I always use patches that I make and then edit them. I'm I kind of want to do something different where I may use a patch that I made from my synth or something, but I'm going to do a ton of sound design and tweaking in effects and things like that. Just change it up.
You want the You want the back and forth, though. You want the variety of being able to do some of the sound design and do some of the writing work.
Yeah.
I'm already doing the sound design. Now I just want to get into doing the writing when it comes to fall. And I'm just going to study up before then. Look for musical ideas and not so much technical ideas.
Yeah.
That's the way forward. Yeah. In
How
a
about
similar
you,
vein.
Curtis?
Yeah, well. I'm not quite sure what that was, but I'll go with it.
That would be something I would edit out in binary stars or star string. But we're live, so it's here.
I would consider that a smooth transition.
Yeah,
I really liked it. I enjoyed it.
Exactly what it
It's
is.
a tongue twister.
Yeah, it's just speaking so quick. It's just Martian. I mean, that's the way it is.
Yeah, there you go. Well, Curtis is an alien, right? So maybe you were
I mean,
channeling
yeah.
Curtis there. Get
Brudonia,
back to the music
man.
making. I think you're ready.
It's a whole nother settle. It's a whole nother settle. There's a okay. So I've got to finish my album coming out by the end of the year, which is going through and should be there. But then I think I want to kind of focus a little bit more on the lore. There's a lot of the lore of Curtis. There's a lot there. All these little fragments, as they are at the moment. The lore of Curtis is all these little kind of fragments of stories which are there, and they're all. I want to kind of bring them together into one kind of cohesive unit, into one kind of. It's not enough to be a book, so to speak.
I was gonna say, have you ever thought of doing like a multimedia project where it's like,
well, that's
album,
kind of what
art or comic or like moving picture thing or something, like, yeah.
It's I've been considering it. There's a lot to do in that sense, and I don't think I'm quite there yet to kind of make it a fully kind of multimedia thing. But there's definitely space for, as you know, I use a lot of voice samples in my work, and I tell the stories through there. If you listen to Feeler Math, for example, it's basically all voice samples and based around that. I didn't have that for Ebbs, Flows and Solos on purpose, but for this album, they've come back, and I'm going to lean into that. Now, I've always shied away from my own voice samples or making my own voice samples, because the whole point of it is that I'm channeling the voices of other people, right? But I think there is now space for the story to be told in such a way using voice actors, either be they me or be other people. Or
I thought you were going to say
you
were going to start singing. I was like, ooh.
I'm going to leave that to you, sir. I'm going to leave that to you for now.
Right.
I'm going to leave that to you. There are ways in which I have experimented with voice production with other people and through other things, but that's not for me just yet. It's just not really something I'm particularly interested in. But telling the stories and telling almost like, you ever see what is it? Do you ever hear Voyage 32 by Porcupine Tree?
No, can't say I have.
No, me either.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's a 40-minute EP, and there's a guy called Brian, and it tells the story of his acid trip, and it's all voice recordings, and it's all kind of like story-based music. And I kind of want to I hedged with it. I started with it about a year ago, and I kind of dropped it for a little bit, and I kind of want to pick that up and kind of go through that basically. That requires dialogue and writing monologues and stuff. We'll see. That's where I want to go.
I assumed that you were going to say that you wanted to do a collaboration with everybody out there.
He's already doing that.
Well,
So he's talking
No,
beyond
he's moving
that.
past
yeah,
that.
He's moving,
Yeah.
We're talking what he's doing next, not what he's doing now.
Well,
That's,
I mean,
that's the round robin.
I mean, a split reality. I mean, there is that split realities EP that is due to come out in January, which is those stems are sitting there for anyone who wishes to be a part of that. I need to pick that up as well, but I mean, I'll probably talk about that another time because we're about out of time for this week. But yeah, I should probably get on board with that. There's a lot of projects.
You'll get
I think
there.
you should also do a DJ set using vocal samples from this show, from any of your shows, from any of your...
In the ocean.
Interesting.
Like that photo
In the
Josh
ocean.
shared, yeah, on our patron Twitter group. Yeah. I think that would be perfect. Just make sure it's waterproof or at least water resistant. A little shock isn't gonna stop you. It's metal.
Not at all.
It's metal.
We'll see. There's a lot to do. There's always a lot to do, isn't there? So
But
I have
that's
to
the
say,
beauty of it.
That is the beauty of it. I think that brings us with that. I think that kind of brings us to the end of the show. But I would like to ask people watching either live or looking back, what are you headed towards? What's your next goal? What's your kind of what lessons have you learned recently in the studio?
And to tie that in, I had a little idea. Since we're talking 2 years, I'm gonna put in the comments our first episode, which was I think August 22nd, something like that, of 2020. And I would love if you're listening now live, or if you're listening on or watching on YouTube later, or if you're listening over on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, head over to the YouTube. But I would love if you would put whatever project you made around that time. If you released anything in like 2020, let's say, I'd love to hear where you sat, like where you were with your music in 2020. I'll share the first episode of Audionautic, and I'll put I did an album Eidolon in 2020, so I'll put that up. I'd just love to hear where everyone's been, and then maybe in the next one we can talk where everyone's going or something. But just put what you released in 2020, not currently, not here we go. Put what you released in 2020 and what you're working on now. Like Shady just put that he's working on a new solo album in the works. So if you'd like to partake in this, Shady, just go to the comments and put something you released in 2020, and then just maybe like the genre or something and what you're working on in 2022. Hydro Fighter, I expect to see you in those comments.
I'm impressed about how much things have changed over 2 years.
Yeah.
It's just, I think 2019 is when Shady and I were kind of diving in and starting to meet people and Twitter, and so I mean, you guys were in a different place 2 years ago, so I'm curious where I was at 2 years ago myself.
Let's go find out. Let's go find out.
And real quick in the chat,
nice
Big Cloudy says that he's sending out a lot of finished stuff to labels and live promoters right now. Nice. And then Survey Channel says, heck, congrats on 2 years. Thanks, Matt. Means a lot, man. Great to see you here.
Yeah, that's what we need. That's what we need.
But yeah, I would love to hear where everyone has been in 2020. Sorry, Curtis. Just I'd love to hear where you've been in the comments, not the live chat, because in case it, I don't know if links work on that, but I'd love to hear in the comments where you've been in 2020, what were you working on in 2020, and then what you're looking to do in the future.
That's what we'd like to see. Yeah. So for now, we'll love you. We'll leave you. We'll say thank you very much for tuning in, and thank you very much for those watching back. We'll be back next week at full strength as Eon Lake is back from holiday. That'll be our first one with all three of us in about a month, really. Yeah. And obviously, hopefully, Hydro Fighter will see you there at some point too.
I hope to be in there.
Yeah. And so, until next week. Any final words, Sunwarper?
Yeah, I just want to promote the Spotify and Apple podcasts. We're up there. If you listen to music or podcasts on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, leave a rating if you'd be so kind. It helps with the algorithm. We're always trying to grow, so it would mean a lot if you leave a rating.
A good one, preferably.
Well, yeah, preferably, but I'm not telling you what to leave. So if you don't like it, put whatever. It still helps. So.
That's one word. Thank you ever so much once again. It's lovely to see Survey Channel in the chat. It was one of our first interviewees 2 years ago as well. So yeah, it's always nice. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you very much. Much love.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Bye.